Every set of data tells a story, but sometimes you find these characters that just don't seem to belong. They're the weird points on the graph, the numbers that just feel off. Today, we're basically going to become data detectives and go hunt for these suspects.
I mean, really think about that for a second. What if just one single piece of data had the power to totally warp a conclusion, to make you make a bad decision, or even hide some really important truth that's sitting right in front of you? Well, that's the power and the danger of what we're digging into today.
Okay, let's make this real. Look over on the left. We've got a list of salaries. And the average, well, it seems pretty fair. It tells a believable story about what people earn. But now, look at the right. We add just one new person, someone with a huge salary, and bam, the average just shoots through the roof. All of a sudden, that number is telling a really misleading story about what a typical person is making. So what do we call this troublesome little data point? Well, it has a name. It's an outlier. The official definition is that it's a data point that deviates so much from everything else, it just doesn't fit the pattern. And this little visual says it all, right? You've got all these dots hanging out together, and then there's that one, all by itself. That's our guy. Now, if you're going to be a good data detective, you can't just go chasing after every odd-looking number. You've got to know what you're looking for. So it's time to profile our suspects. Turns out we can group these suspects into three main categories. We've got our point outliers, then we have contextual ones, and finally, the real sneaky ones, the collective outliers. First up is the point outlier. This is the most obvious kind, the one that's easiest to spot. So imagine a list of numbers like 10, 12, 11, 13, 9, and then suddenly 150. I mean, that doesn't just stand out, it practically screams at you. It's just strange compared to everything else. Okay, now this is where it gets interesting, because sometimes being an outlier is all about the context. A temperature of 35 degrees Celsius in July? Sure, sounds like a hot summer day. Totally normal. But that exact same temperature in the middle of January? Whoa, that's not just a warm day, that's a serious statistical anomaly. The number itself isn't weird, but the situation makes it a prime suspect. And that brings us to the most subtle profile of all, the collective outlier. A single credit card charge for $9.99? Completely normal, you wouldn't even blink. But what if you saw 50 of those exact same charges all in 1 minute from the same account? Now you've got a pattern. The individual data points are totally innocent, but when you see them all together, it looks like something fishy is going on. So before we jump to conclusions, we also need to figure out the motive. Why is this outlier here? Is it just a simple typo, a data entry error somebody made? Or maybe it's a natural outlier, like it's a real genuine event, but just incredibly rare. Or, and this is the exciting one, could it be a novel event? Something that's pointing to a brand new discovery. Okay, so we've got our profiles. We know what these outliers look like and where they might come from. Now, let's open up the detective's toolkit and see what tools we can use to actually catch them. Our first tool is actually pretty simple and elegant. It's called the interquartile range method, or IQR. Just think of it like this. We figure out where the main neighborhood of our data is, and then we build these statistical fences around it. Anybody we find wandering too far outside those fences gets flagged for questioning. And really, it's just a simple 3-step process. First, you find the boundaries of the middle 50% of your data. Then you calculate how big that range is. And finally, you use that range to set your upper and lower fences. Anything that falls outside those boundaries is a potential outlier. Simple as that. Oh, right. Next up is a classic, the z-score. This one measures exactly how far away a data point is from the average in terms of standard deviations. It's a very precise way to measure just how weird something is, but this trusty old tool has a hidden flaw, a blind spot that can let a clever suspect get away. And that problem is called masking. See, a really extreme outlier can actually distort the evidence. It inflates the standard deviation of the whole group so much that the outlier itself doesn't look as strange as it really is. It's kind of like the suspect is messing with the crime scene to make themselves blend in. Let's go back to that data set with our old friend, the number 150. If we use the standard z-score, it gets a score of about 2.999. Now, a lot of people use a cutoff of 3, so it gets flagged, but just barely. It doesn't seem that crazy. The masking effect is working. It's hiding just how strange this number really is. But now watch this. Let's pull out a more robust tool, the modified z-score. This one is resistant to that masking effect. And look at that. The score for 150 skyrockets to over 93. There is absolutely no hiding now. This is a perfect example of why choosing the right tool for the job is so, so important.
So, we've identified our suspect. We have overwhelming evidence. The investigation's over, right? Well, not quite. Now comes maybe the most important part of the whole process, deciding what to do about it. It's time to close the case. You've basically got a few options. If you're positive it was just a typo, a data entry error, then yeah, maybe deleting it is the right call. If it's a real data point that's just super extreme, you could cap it, meaning you bring it down to a more reasonable maximum value. And sometimes, if your whole data set is kind of skewed, a mathematical transformation can help pull everything back in line. The right choice really depends on that motive we looked for earlier. All of this, everything we've talked about, it all builds to one final clue. What I think is the single most important lesson in this whole investigation. If you remember only one thing today, please let it be this. Never, ever remove an outlier just because you found it. Doing that without thinking is not just bad practice, it can be a huge mistake. And here's why. Because here's the big twist. The outlier isn't always the bad guy in the story. Sometimes it's the hero. It's that one unexpected result that signals a huge medical breakthrough. It's that sudden crash in sales that points to a critical flaw in a product. Sometimes, the outlier is the most important clue you have. So the whole point is this. When you finally find that one strange, lonely data point, that's not the end of the job. It's where the real work begins. You have to ask yourself the most important question of all. Is this thing an error that I need to erase, or is it a discovery that I need to investigate? And honestly, the answer to that question could be the entire reason you were looking at the data in the first place.